My brother gave his life hunting the enemy. His task is now mine.
It's been called the most expensive TV series in history. The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power is the name of the prequel. And the only thing more daunting than the price tag, well, that might be fan expectations. The new series brings us back to Middle-earth. It unfolds thousands of years before the events of the original trilogy. And the series began streaming last night. Maybe you watched it. CBC senior entertainment reporter Eli Glasner certainly did, and he is here with his take on the first 2 episodes. This series in general, I mean, it looks spectacular. It looks like a lot of money in there. What do you know about the big picture, Eli?
Marvel would die to have the kind of visual effects that you see on screen. That Amazon money is being well spent, so that's where we should start. Amazon, which is kind of the larger company that owns Prime Video, and that's where you'll find this, they paid $250 million alone just for the global TV streaming rights of the novels by J.R.R. Tolkien. So, as you said, this is set thousands of years before the events of the original trilogy. The story is, Suhana, that Jeff Bezos watched Game of Thrones and said, why don't we have one of those? And it turns out that he's a big Lord of the Rings fan. So he said, go get me one of those. And when you can build rocket ships, I guess you can buy Lord of the Rings. So they scooped up the rights. They spent something like over $400 million on the first season. You add in marketing, and this is a billion-dollar gamble. And I say gamble because the showrunners, the writers behind this show are not known. J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, not exactly household names. They've had a couple hot scripts. They've done some script polishing. They've worked with J.J. Abrams, but they had a take. They had a vision for Middle-earth that the executives really responded to. Now, this story is inspired by, believe it or not, the appendices from Return of the King. So Tolkien put little breadcrumbs in there in this prequel, giving us suggestions on the events that led up to The Lord of the Rings as we know it.
Yeah, $1 billion worth of breadcrumbs, right? But that's the backstory and all the money in this production. Take me right down to that middle dark spot, Middle-earth. Where do you want to start with that?
All right, so put on your walking shoes, your traveling cloak. Come with me to the Second Age. We are about 3,000 years before the events of The Lord of the Rings. A great evil has been vanquished. There were massive battles. Elves that are supposed to live forever have actually perished. It's supposed to be a time of peace, of celebration, of tranquility, but shadows curl at the edges.
We thought our joys would be unending. We thought our light would never dim.
The skies are strange.
It is here, Galadriel. The moment we feared.
There you go. In the first 2 episodes, we are introduced to an avalanche of characters. An elf warrior told to abandon his post, but he senses danger approaching. Another elf, Galadriel, you saw her there, this outcast. Like, the elves are serene, they're calm, and she is a warrior. She is on a mission. Her brother fell fighting these dark forces. She is going to continue that mission. Then they're the predecessors to the hobbits. They have sticks in their hair. They have these big feet. They have these beautiful, easy smiles. They're self-serving scoundrels. They're stubborn dwarves, and even a mysterious man that falls from the sky. There's also this growing sense of peril, that there's a time coming soon where each will have to pick a side.
Each of us must decide who we shall be.
There can be no trust between hammer and rock. Eventually, one or the other must surely break.
There you go. I think you get a sense of where that VFX budget went to.
You know, I watch this stuff and then I see people watching series and movies on their phones, Eli. And, you know, the screen is like this big. This looks like one of those productions that needs to be leaned back in the VIP seats with the popcorn and the food and the works watching on a huge screen. Is it kind of like a film made for television?
It is, but that is what's happened, is that a lot of the money and resources that used to go to building up blockbuster movies are now going to blockbuster series. And that is exactly what this is. I was worried that it would be not enough, too sprawling and too scattered of a storyline. But I will tell you, it is epic and elemental, and there is some amazing stories that they're just planting the seeds of in this series. So I do think, it would be great to watch this with a crowd, to ooh and ah and to wonder over the effects. But certainly this is a promising start, 4.5 stars out of 5.
Wow, wonderful. I know after I read Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, I went looking for Ents. You know? I looked at trees differently from that moment on. So
You'll
I
find
can't
all
wait
that
to.
and more.
Yes. Great to see you as always. That's CBC's Eli Glasner in Toronto.